Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk about supporting your friendly local gaming stores. But first, before that, I just wanted to reach out and say a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. For those of you that don't know, I do have a Patreon page, and if you've been enjoying these 5 uploads a week and would like to support the long-term sustainability of that, please consider pledging. There's pledge levels starting at $2 a month, and as you increase, there are some nice bonuses unlocked, such as exclusive t-shirts that you'll be sent once every 6 months, and also the opportunity to Skype in and be part of the Monday night live stream. So if you're enjoying the uploads, please do consider supporting the channel. Anyway, back to the story. So recently I decided to go into my local town, my local city, and to try and support my friendly local gaming store with some hobby purchases I needed to make. I needed some paints, I needed a couple of new brushes, and I thought I'd also kind of browse the shelves and see if there was anything that takes my eye. Maybe a new model or maybe a new board game. However, things didn't really go to plan. So as I went into the store, there was probably around two or three people already in there, just kind of on their own browsing the shelves. The person that was running the store, so as he walked through the door, the counter was just to the left of me as I walked through. He kind of looked up from reading a comic book and just kind of glanced at me and looked back down at his comic. There was no smile, there was no welcome, there was nothing friendly about it anyway, that's for sure. And I kind of went off and browsed around the shelves. Now, after what seemed like probably only about 30 seconds, the guy from the counter kind of appeared behind me and just was kind of hovering around and didn't speak, just kind of was shuffling a few comics around on the shelves. But just then kind of followed me around the store. I think he must have thought I was going to be stealing something. Now, I'm not some kind of 16-year-old kid. I'm a 43-year-old bloke. I don't think I look like somebody that's going to be starting to steal things from the shelves, but who knows, maybe they've had a problem in the past. But rather than just ask me if there's anything I needed, did I need any help, what games was I playing, what comics was I reading, that kind of thing, he just kind of silently sort of just hid in the background all the time, keeping an eye on me. Then I did go to the paint section. They didn't have the paints I wanted. They had it looked like they needed a restock, to be fair. And so I asked him, I said, do you have any of these particular paints in stock? And he said, no, we haven't got any of those. I can order them for you. They'll be here in about a week or so. And I thought, this is why friendly local gaming stores are not surviving on the high street now. There was no friendly for starters. Yes, it was local, but then they didn't have any stock. Now I can forgive the lack of stock. I mean, it's a store, it sells out of things, these kind of things happen. And part of supporting your friendly local gaming store, certainly by walking in through the door, is accepting that you might have to wait for some stuff. You know, they can't all stock everything we want. So there is an acceptance that you have to wait for things to be ordered in. However, in this instance, why would I want to wait to go back to that store to pick something up when actually he's not showing me any kind of service? There's been no customer service in it. I just got a bit frustrated by the fact that I'd gone out of my way. First of all, I drove into town, I'd paid for parking, I went into the store, he'd followed me around as if I was going to steal something, and then basically kind of dismissed me as if to say, oh, I can order them in a week. I can order within 24 hours online. I didn't need to go into town to be told that I can kind of wait a week. Now, if he'd kind of engaged me in a conversation, if he'd shown some kind of interest, maybe I would have. I wasn't desperate for the paints. Maybe I would have ordered from him. But it's that friendly side. This is what friendly local gaming stores, in my experience, are missing. Now, in last week's video, which you can see up here, I mentioned about how gaming stores or friendly local gaming stores need to become a destination and not just the place you go to pick up a few bits and pieces. They need to be welcoming. They need to be a destination you go to, you look forward to going to. You want to walk through the door and be greeted with some great customer service, because great customer service is what separates the friendly local gaming stores on the high street from the friendly local gaming stores online. Now, I don't expect it to be waited on hand and foot, and maybe I'm being a little bit precious about this, but I just felt it frustrating that there wasn't even any kind of conversation. There was no greeting. I know some people just like to be left alone to browse, but it was the way I was kind of followed around the shop. Now, I know this is a poor comparison, but by the same stretch, I then left there and went to Starbucks for a cup of coffee. And as I walked through the door, there was a good morning, how are you? What can I get you? How's your day going? And I know they're probably told to say these kind of things, but that's customer service. And the big stores and the big chains are told to look after their customers. Now, the smaller ones, the one-man bands, the ones that some guy had a dream of opening a hobby shop, that's the bit that can be missing. Now, I do want to say that this is not my experience of every single kind of gaming store, just the ones that are particularly local to me. There are other gaming stores, so as an example, Asgard War Games is not too far away from me. It's just a bit of a drive. It's probably about an hour and 20 minutes drive away from me. So it's not as local for me, it's just to nip down on the off chance they've got some things in. But Steve that runs that store has been nothing but friendly. He's helped me out with a few giveaways on this channel, and he runs a really good store. And that got me thinking, supporting your local gaming store doesn't necessarily mean walking through the front door. Now, every gaming store online is a friendly local gaming store. Most of them these days are not just kind of sort of somebody running it from a spare room in their house. Most of them are stores, physical bricks and mortar stores that have an online presence. And in order to make those shops viable, they have to have an online presence. And it got me thinking that just because it might not be local to me, doesn't mean that it's not a friendly local gaming store that needs some support. Even if we think about the big players in the market, players like Element Games, who are pretty huge now, they're still a friendly local gaming store. I've been there for tournaments, I've just kind of walked in when I've been working in Manchester, maybe catch up with Jay and Steve from Top Table Gaming, and we've played games there, and I pick up some bits and pieces while I'm there shopping. I've also used them online, and their service has always been really good, and they also sometimes throw a few kind of sweets in. That kind of thing is just a little personal touch, and it reminds you that even the big guys started off as smaller, friendly local gaming stores. The reason they got big is because they gave great service. So shopping online doesn't always have to be a bad thing. And just because you've got a local gaming store doesn't mean that you need to support it if they don't get the friendly and the customer service part right. It's just made me think a little bit different about where I spend my money. I guess I was conscious of maybe spending online trying to get the best price. And as I've been getting some games sent to me for review, I've not been buying so much recently. So I thought I would try and support my local gaming store. However, I don't think they really deserve my support. If they're not giving anything to me, why should I be giving anything to them? I'd love to know what you think. Do you think you should support your local gaming store regardless? Or is the fact that they don't give good service, is that enough to go and look elsewhere? And do you think that shopping online is always bad and that's what's killing the high street? As I mentioned, don't forget, most, and I would say 90% of online stores still have a high street presence. And by you shopping with them, you're still supporting what would tend to be, in generally, if you go, especially if you go to the smaller ones, probably a really kind of small family concern. So don't forget, shopping online isn't always bad, and friendly local gaming stores need to be more friendly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.